Hey, it's Ed Parco. You're one of the hosts of Helping the Brave. Amy is having some technical issues today, which is very unusual for her. But today we have a special guest, which is Floyd Sheldon. How you doing, Floyd?
Great, Ed. How are you today?
Good. Where you out of?
I am in Yelm, Washington, just south of Joint Base Lewis McCord
Okay.
in
You must.
Washington.
Amy must have referred you to us
That I wonder. Yeah, absolutely.
because where are you located, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No. All right. So Amy will figure her mic out shortly. So what do you? All right. What service were you in?
So I spent 31 years in the Army. Enlisted the day after I graduated high school and retired in April 2016.
All right. And why did you pick the Army?
My brother was in it. He was in 7th Special Forces at the time, back in the 80s, and not many options as a young kid in middle America. And it was just it's a good launching point in life.
Yeah. Well, my son's he's in the Army. He's at Anchorage, so
Okay.
he's a medic, airborne. So I have no issues with the Army.
Yeah.
I'm Navy corpsman. So
Yeah,
so
I can tell you stories, positive stories about Navy corpsmen in Afghanistan. So,
yeah. I mean, we all joke with each other, but bottom line, we're all brothers and sisters and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
but I always like to find out how people got in, why they picked the service they picked, how long they stayed in, and how was their transitioning to what they do now.
Yeah. So, that's a good lead in. So, I didn't have many options, you know, you know, B, C, D, F student in high school. But single mom, my dad passed away when I was 5. So, I was the last kid at home, another burden on my mom. I said, you know what? Let me launch into life and let her figure out where she needs to be by herself instead of trying to take care of me too. Seriously, the day after I graduated high school, I was at Fort Benning, Georgia, and I enlisted for 3 and stayed 31. Who knew? And
Wow.
yeah, so Army, my brother was in Special Forces, and it just seemed like a logical path at the time. And I wasn't ready for college at the time. I had a scholarship for art. I don't say that to too many people, but I did, and it was just a good choice. And really, I didn't realize that my most important decisions in life I would have made at 17 and 18. That really formed who I am today. So, and uh, and I got out the transition. That's a great question, by the way. When you retire from the army, they don't. So I retired as a lieutenant colonel. So the transition piece,
Wow. I'm sorry. You went in as enlisted and retired as or did you go in
lieutenant
as
colonel.
off? Oh,
I
wow.
went in as a private enlist and retired as a lieutenant colonel. Ended up commanding 2 infantry battalions before I got
That,
out.
that's so. When did you? How far into your service did you transition to officer?
I pinned on lieutenant at 100 months in service.
Really?
Yeah. I was promotable E7 and graduated OCS September 93.
Wow.
I think so.
So how did you know you were going to go OCS when you went in, or
No, but my wife did.
they always know, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Or they think they do anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
all right, so let's go right there for a second because a lot of people don't know you can do that. So how did you go in and then decide to go become an officer,
um,
or what was that? Was there a certain thing that happened?
good question. Certain thing happened. No, I was in and out of the ranger community, long range surveillance, hardened airborne ranger, jumping out of airplanes and crazy stuff. And I just felt like I wanted a little bit more. And I was encouraged a lot by my wife and her dad, who was the COO of Cigna at the time, Cigna Insurance Company. So yes, I married up, and
We all
uh,
did.
yeah, we all did. And so I started going to college at night, and I really hit it hard. I used to be an instructor at airborne school, those infamous
Hmm.
black hats,
Hmm.
and I did that. And then I was a ranger instructor. Just I hit the books hard at night when I was working 14 hours a day, and just at that time, you only needed 2 years of college to go to OCS. Today, you need 4, and so that kind of I applied, did all the right things, and got accepted, and ended up being a lieutenant in the 82nd. So,
All right.
um,
And I just want to be clear. It was you said 100 months, right? Is that what you said?
100 months enlisted.
All right. So almost 10 years. Right.
8.
8. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just over 8. He's like 8 years and 3 or 4 months.
Right.
So, but it's I don't regret it. I probably stayed a year too long, but
Sorry.
yes, you asked a question about transition. So when you retire, so here's something a lot of people don't know. If a soldier is just getting out of service, the military, all of them, throw a lot of money at taking that young service member that did their time. By the way, less than a third of 1% of our citizens ever serve. So a less than third of 1% ever serve. So they're in a very small category just by saying I'll serve for however many time. So if they don't get a job, the government pays unemployment on it. So the military throws a lot of money at them. When they retire, they're like, well, you got your retirement. Good luck. And it was a challenge when I retired. And I had my transition job, and I did that for about 15 months, but I was still gone. I was working for the UN and State Department in Africa as a contractor. So good times, but still, I was still gone.
Right. Now, were you overseas when you got out, or where were you
I was
stationed
right
at?
here. I was right here. I was an inspector general for 7th Infantry Division when I retired.
Okay.
So then I spent 3 months rearranging my wife's kitchen, and I said I got a job offer from the State Department. She said, "When you leave?" so so I did that for about 15 months, and now I'm in real estate.
That's a big change.
I did not see that was not on the radar screen when I took the uniform off, but I arrived.
So how did you? So I'm in the mortgage industry in California. All right.
Yep.
So you're in the real estate industry. How did you transition from the UN job to doing this,
Um,
and
good,
why?
good question. Bad segue. I watched a show on TV. I was home for one of my trips in Africa for a few weeks, and I saw a show on TV, and I thought, wow. I was just tired of being gone. I was home 6 weeks out of 15 months. And I said, I got to find something that keeps me at home. There were a lot of companies that wanted to hire me, but they wanted me to move. And I was tired of moving. So I said, no, let's find something. So I sat down with the person that sold me my home. And she's like, you don't want to do this. But then I talked to 3 or 4 more of the realtors, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a swing. Then I went back. I got my life. I was in Mauritania. You ever heard of it? Most people haven't. It's a West Coast African country in the South Sahara Desert. But anyway, I'm doing my studying at night in the hotel room. I come back, I test, and I go to 2 other countries. My last trip to Africa felt a whole lot like the Army. I'm like, okay, I got to stop this. I got to give the real estate a go. And I hit the ground. And the thing that resonated with me, the first house I sold when I handed keys to my client, I was a buyer. It reminded me of pinning an award on a soldier. And I was sold from that point. I was like, if it can be this gratifying, I'm done. I'm in. Then about a year later, they offered to sell me the office, and now I own a real estate office. What was I thinking?
Oh, wow. I mean, because a lot of people, who get into real estate, they don't understand. I mean, for me, helping people buy their first home is like the best thing, because that's like they're like, oh, I can't believe I did this. I'm here. After that, it's not the same enthusiasm. I mean, it is, but nothing like that first time, right?
Yeah, and that's what it is for me even today. And running an office, I get pleasure running my office by helping my realtors be successful. I'm able to do that with lead generation and just watching, educating them, bringing the military training methodology and training to this, because I'm finding out that just a lot of I haven't experienced many offices that do a lot of training. They kind of throw people to the wolves. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying I haven't experienced many of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, because real estate is how the mortgage industry used to be, which was totally different. Now we get a lot of training. We have to go to a lot of training because we have to do our training every year, and So I understand that because I have my broker's license in California because I had to have it the way we were licensed for mortgages back when we were. So I totally
Actually,
understand that whole thing. But
yeah.
now, are you under an umbrella of a company? What's the name of your company?
So I work for Windermere is our
Okay.
corporate company. We're in 10 states, uh, and I only own one office right now. We might branch off and have a few more, but I like Windermere. It's a regional company. It speaks volumes across. When most people hear Windermere around here, they think high ethical standards. They think quality, and it kind of resonated with me. So that's why I like it, and I like the regional aspect too. And it's the last we bought the company. We became owners January 2020. Who knew COVID was coming, but it did. And we've learned a lot. I say we because my wife and I are doing it, and she's behind the scenes, and I'm all this. So, but I don't regret it for a minute. 65% of our business comes from service members, and that kind of resonates with me because let's face it, it's who I am. 31 years in the army,
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, it helps having a big base right there too, right?
yeah, it does. And they wrote so there's about 25,000 service members in JBLM, and they move about 9,000 a year. And that's are they all buying homes? No. So here's an interesting story for you. I'm an old soldier, so I have plenty of them. But 1 out of 10 high school graduate joins the military, whatever branch it is. 7 out of 10 of them are from small town America. So those people that are moving to JBLM that are in the position to buy a home, they're just starting a family. What replicates where they came from? 7 out of 10 of them. Well, if you come to Yom, Washington, you'll see small town America, even though we're an hour out of Seattle and 30 minutes out of Olympia. So that kind of resonates with them, and that's kind of been our base of our business. And we have 25% of our business are seniors, and about 60% of that are veterans. So it's kind of the community we live in.
Right. All right. So let's go back to military. So you were talking because I find for myself in a lot of places is SOPs. Not many people know what that is unless you're military. What have you taken from the military to help you grow your business?
Systems. I spent probably 5 years of my military career
Well,
training
Floyd,
military.
Floyd,
Yes.
can you hold? Let's see if Amy figured it out today. Are you back, Amy? No, you're not.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, it's been nice having you on today. Thanks for showing up. We'll talk afterwards.
Systems and running the organization. There's a very rote step in some of the systems that I applied that I was taught in the military. SOPs, you're absolutely right. By law, actually, by law in the state of Washington, I have to have an office policy manual, so AKA SOP.
Right.
So we have that in place.
Yeah, but I just want to say something. But an SOP that we're used to is not like a civilian office manual, right?
True. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So I'll tell you, the young realtors. I have about 30 realtors. I have to do the math, and we had 12 when I started. So we've grown. And I have a lot of new ones. But the one thing I say, look, you need to show up every day. Treat it like a job. If you're not showing up every day, you're not doing yourself. You're treating it like a hobby, not a job. And you got to figure out what you want. You want a job? You want a hobby? And I've learned for me, from my seat, I prefer people that want to treat it as a job, not a hobby.
Well, I mean, it is a job.
You
have to have. I mean, it's got to be a job because otherwise you can't be successful. It's the same thing in my industry. You can't be part-time. You got to be full-time. It's hard to stay up on stuff when you're not full-time working in it full-time. I mean, I was working till 8 o'clock last night. Not that I love doing that, but that's just how it is. I mean, it's been crazy for the last 2 years and still it's crazy. And I'm not just talking refinance. I'm talking purchases, and 1 in 4 deals right now is cash for us down here. I don't know how it is up there, but so, I mean, it is just still crazy with people trying to get into houses, trying to do this. We have a lot of people leaving California for other places, but not enough. And I say that not being rude, but it's still, we net exodus 100,000, but we still have 15 to 20 people standing there wanting the same house.
Yeah. And we're dealing with not quite that bad, but we're still dealing with it. I'll tell you, here's what I've learned about the real estate industry. If you had somebody that succeeded in the military, they'll be exceptional realtors.
Actually, and I say it differently. I say if you have somebody that way in the military, they'll be exception in anything they do.
Yeah, that's probably a better point. Absolutely.
Because I mean, yeah, they do really well there, but I mean, it's just the fact of what you've learned. First, attention to detail. They show up on time, which is 10 minutes early. All that stuff you learn from the military. Communication, huge. How to communicate. The stuff that you don't learn from regular people. I mean, so how hard was it from you transitioning to speak differently than you did in the military?
It's not that hard. So what's different is I've learned I had to dial it back. I couldn't be as direct. I've learned to ask more questions and let them get themselves there. And at times I've been direct when they need it. So, maybe that just comes from all my time in leadership, but you have to learn to dial it back. And yes, soldiers have to dial back the language. What you looking for? Morse. Sorry, we're working too.
Well, no, you can't work on a podcast.
Yeah. So here we go. Anyway, So we manage 125 properties right now too, as well. So not just real estate. But yeah, you're right. And at times my wife has to weigh in. Hey, you can't say that. But I'll tell you the one benefit the Army brought me what brought me that has helped me is I always saw green. Period. You're a soldier.
Right. You're a person.
You're a person. The rest of it just didn't matter. Go do your job. So, and I think that's a huge plus coming from the military, from where I came from. So, but I don't regret my time in service. It's made me who I am. If you look at my wall behind me, you see it's all over the place.
Right.
So,
how long you been out?
February 2016, I took the uniform off, 90 days leave. So April 30th was my last day in the Army, technically.
Okay, so a few years.
Yeah.
Because we ask a lot of people to come on the podcast to talk about their transition story, where they're at, and whatever. And we had Captain Charlie Plum on. Do you know who he is? He was
I know the name. Yeah, I do.
Vietnam vet he was a pilot. He was shot down after a 74th sortie. He was in a not concentration camp, but a camp. Yeah, thank you. It's been a long day already. And he was on talking about his whole story, and that's from Vietnam. We have a lot of people from, it's because my big thing is I like to talk to Vietnam vets because that was a period of time we were the worst we could have ever been to people who were getting out of the military, right? So it's nice to have them tell their story. World War II, I don't care. What I'm getting at is I've had people where I've asked who got out in the 80s or even early 90s that come on, and they're like, oh, that's so long ago. I have nothing to add. You don't understand. It's about how did you get, why did you pick the service you did? What did you do while you're in? How did you transition out? What has happened during that period of time to get you to where you are now, right? Yeah. Because a lot of us vets, you're lucky you deal with vets a lot during the day. Myself, I'm lucky if I deal with a vet a month where I'm at in Central California. So I used to be in San Diego. That was different. But up here, there's veterans, but they're not as much as in other places. So basically, what I'm getting at is how would you tell people why did you come on the show besides Amy asking you to come on the show?
I will tell you, and Amy can tell you, about a year ago, I never thought it happened to me, but my PTSD tripped up. And the battle I thought I'd never fight, I fought. And because of Fairway and the team around me, soldiers need to know it. So service members need to know it's okay to talk about those things. They're not alone. All ranks are dealing with it. and we're here to help each other. So, and I thought on the podcast I could mention that. And by the way, I'm the kid that came from nothing to achieve. I'm sitting on a real estate company today, and that if you're a veteran, there's a lot of things out there that you can go do. By the way, there's a lot of help out there too. There is. I have found a lot of places to get help for me, and Amy and I and Fairway American Warrior Initiative are trying to figure out how we can continue to help service members because we're in the position we can. So a lot of them don't know they need help, or they don't know where to go. So if I can reach out to somebody, they can call Young Windermere. We'll figure it out. We'll pick up the phone and help them.
Yeah, we had some people on a while back from Houston and Texas that they do PTSD, and they talk to them, and for combat vets only. And then if you call them and they don't deal with you, they don't hang up on you. They call the right people and get you connected right then and there. And so there's a lot of things out there for vets who have PTSD, and you just need to go get help when you're ready. Yeah. Amy, are you actually there?
I think so. Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
I apologize to everybody out there, and I apologize to you, Floyd, especially.
No, we're good.
Thank you so much for coming on today. But
and it's been nice having you. Thanks for being here. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I think you're right. I think on one of the other networking things I'm on, somebody said had this post. What have you learned from therapy that has been helpful? If you put it here, then it can help even more. And I thought that was really cool to try to normalize or work on normalizing mental health, because I think, if we could, and I think of this in finances, like working with soldiers on JBLM and stuff like that. Like there are so many flags on the play before the bankruptcy or before the big thing, right? So if we can normalize having these complex conversations, or share that we all, none of us are perfect. So all of us need help. And so it was this long thread of like the one thing that you use from therapy. And I thought it was so refreshing.
Yeah. And I'll, play with my cards face now. I figured out what was triggering my PTSD. Things that happened to me downrange or happened to me here. I just didn't realize it until I sat down with a professional and how they connected. And it took the professional that connected them and to give me safeguards to, not be the angry self anymore. So long story short, hey, look, there's help out there. There's some really great people. Here's a problem. A lot of counselors are overcome up here. It took, I looked at 10 or 15 different counselors before he said, yeah, I got time for you. So the beauty is I work for me, so my time's flexible. I make my time, except for what my wife tells me to do. But anyway, I always say the glories of war are only glorious until you live through them, and that's true. But not everybody can do it, and those who can should, and those that do, we need to take care of. And everyone deals with it different. And I'll tell you, Fairway's been a lot for me because Chris Knox, loan officer here, he's like become my big brother. He did this to me. He got a little froggy the other night, but anyway, it's fine. No punches were thrown. He just wanted to wrestle. So, but he's like the brother. He's a brother not only in real estate, in the mortgage industry, but in my life too. And I appreciate him, a whole lot. We're going to do a lot with American Warrior Initiative. We're going to do another dog and Veterans Day. Then we're going to do we're going to support a race and another dog in Memorial Day. See if we can help service members manage their lives a little bit better. So,
Amy, what is that?
What is what?
The dog, the stuff like that.
So the American Warrior Initiative is how we created a platform for employees to contribute. And what's nice about the American Warrior Initiative is there's nobody who's paid. So every dollar raised or donated goes right to the cause. And our branch is really passionate about funding service animals because it's the one way that has so much data to support actually reducing triggers and angst and PTS in just in a very dynamic way. And so I think of like we had a situation about a year and a half ago where 2 veterans had road rage. And one guy got out and drew a gun and the other veteran actually shot him and killed him. And both families were local from this area. And I really, really believe if the one veteran had a service dog, it would have changed the entire dynamic. Like it would have changed it. And it was a horrible situation to go to war, deal with what you deal with, and then come back and kill a brother because he had a gun on you, because the situation was stupid. And so service animals are just something that our group, and I think, Ed, you're the same way. It's just one of those things that that is right. Like, there's so many different types of therapy if we went back to it, and you find the therapy that works for you, right? So, which is the way to go. So whether it's talk therapy or yoga or whatever it is, if it works for you, then great. But service dogs across the board make huge impacts. And so it's a great way to get involved, but they're expensive, which is why they don't, which is why the VA can't keep up with the need.
How expensive are they?
They're between 10 or so, I like to finagle. So I can get a service dog donated, the dog donated, and only have to pay for training. And it can be from, say, $7,000 to $15,000. And it depends on the needs of the veteran. You have a veteran with a very pronounced traumatic brain injury or blindness, you need a fully trained service dog. You have a veteran that is who's dealing with post-traumatic stress, they could be a part of training their dog, which could be way more beneficial for them. And there's lots of places across the country, Dog Tag Buddies, Compass Key, a lot of great people getting involved in this area, doing really good work, which is also the exciting part of my job is I get to meet just exceptional patriots.
Hey,
across the country.
Ed, something service members, including you, I don't know how long you served, but you served others. So there's an instinct inside that you want to give back. You want to take care of others. It's what we do. And when I retired, I was looking for that. And I probably stumbled for 3 or 4 years of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was reluctant to go to the veteran side because I knew there were so many veteran organizations out there. But last year, probably January or February, and Amy and I first met, I kind of figured out how myself, my organization can contribute and make a difference because we're such a veteran and service-oriented area. So, put the business aside. The majority of our people here are so focused on service members and veterans that why wouldn't I want to take advantage of that and see what I can do to make a difference? So that's kind of I'm glad we teamed up with Amy and Fairway. So,
well, thank you for that. So in the beginning of this podcast, because I missed it with technical difficulties, Floyd, have you always been an officer?
No, we already went through that. He was 100 days, 8 years, and then he transitioned into
100 months enlisted. So
yeah.
Okay.
We hit that already. We did pretty well without you today. So
I know you do. You do.
We appreciate you showing up for the last few minutes of it, like you've been here the whole time. So. See, I can give her a hard time because that's how we are now.
Yeah, that's okay. I saw you got the 22 on your shirt, though. What's that for?
22 vets, a day.
All right. Oh, okay.
I wear a different shirt probably every show I try anyway. So I do multiple podcasts. I'm gonna try back, but I do a radio show and other podcasts. And so every time I'm on camera during the day, I change my shirt. And because I do a lot of Inner Edison podcasts where I'll do 3 in one day. If I'm in the same shirt, I have to see that shirt for the next 3 weeks or the next 4 weeks. You follow me? So
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
yeah,
And
so
I know the shirt Amy's wearing, by the way.
yeah, well, she always wears the same shirt. That's like some of the
Yeah.
other people we know. They wear a black T-shirt all the time, so they could do the same thing. I don't. I like these shirts that talk about vets and how we can support PTSD and other stuff. So
Yeah, the lady that started that, a friend of mine, one of my soldiers was with him downrange when it happened. So
Lisa Hallett. So
I don't know her personally. I'm just saying I know of it, and you know, we can talk all day because what do we have? 30 years of war. Take 20 in Afghanistan and 10 in Iraq. You know, when I enlisted, I just didn't. You know, you just don't know what's in front of you. You don't. And I can rattle off names of everybody that gave everything, but I feel lucky. I feel fortunate. So how can I continue to make a difference? There's a reason I survived stupid things. So I think it was my height.
Right. Well, and you know, because when a buddy wants to wrestle, you just wrestle.
That's right. By the way, he's bigger than me too. Good times.
Well, I was better you than me.
Yeah. So what's going forward? What are you doing going forward? What's your plan? I mean, besides the helping with the vets, but anything different?
So I want to be able to. Good question. I'm 55 next week, and I want to continue. So Stephen Covey, I don't know if you've read his book, you know, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about sphere of influence and sphere of concern. There are a lot of things I'm concerned about, but I don't focus on them. I only focus when I can influence. So here's what I know. I know I can, in this industry, I can train a lot of service members to be great realtors and be successful and make a difference in their own lives and their families' lives and the people they sell houses to. And I'm watching my success will come from watching them be successful. I enjoy watching people, you know, grow and be successful and enjoy life. Do that, run my company, give away 2 dogs a year, and figure out how I can help other veterans in other ways. And I spent a lifetime serving the world. I was rarely able to serve where I lived. So I want to focus on changing where I live. And then at 70, dial it back, continue to serve. I want to go hand out cookies at the USO in Seattle and SeaTac. Be that person and help them out.
Well, if that doesn't work for you, there's always the Walmart greeters.
I can do that too. I got one like a mile away, so I'm good with that too. So it's
All right, Amy, do you have any questions? Do you know? Her normal question is, do you volunteer?
Do I volunteer?
But you know, I do know that he does because that was actually the first time we met. He had me and my husband drove all the way out to Yelm, and it was 10 weeks of summer project.
And the Rotary.
Yep.
That's
and
right.
That was the first time that I really met Floyd.
So you're in did you say you're in Rotary or no?
I am.
Yeah. So am I. I'm in Sunrise Rotary here in Modesto, California. So.
We give 12 weeks of summer food out. Our first summer, we gave about 1,400 bags of food out in 12 weeks. Last year, we gave 2,500 out. I'm probably not involved as I should be right now because I'm running 3 companies, and I have a daughter that's 17. So anyway, another story. But,
all right. Property management, real estate, and what else?
My own real estate. I'm still selling houses. So I run 30 realtors, property management, and my own real estate. And I make more money off my own real estate than I do anything else. So,
of course,
but
how that works.
Yeah, but property management, I'm influencing 300 people, every day,
Right.
from the owners to the tenants. And yeah, that's the ugly side of real estate. So
I mean,
challenging side of real estate.
there you go. There you go. All right. And my question you already answered while we've been talking, which is always what do you still use today that you learned in the military? And you talk.
Yeah, routine things done routinely. Yeah. And,
All right.
That echoes every day.
Anything else you want to add for a vet who's getting out or transitioning or thinking about it?
So have a plan and execute it. If you don't have a plan, don't get out. I always ask my soldier that. They wanted to get out. I'm like, all right, what's your plan? What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you going to be at the next level when you get out? If they didn't have a plan, I always recommended them not to get out. If you get out, understand your first job is a transition job. Life is different as a civilian. Life looks like speed, but a whole lot slower. You have to learn to be. You have to learn how to be more kind. You can't be as direct. You have to dial it back, ask questions, and I've had to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I'm still trying, and it's been years. So.
I appreciate the honesty on that, but do I always succeed? No, but that's my intent.
Yeah.
So.
I always tell I'm direct. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but that's who I am.
Yeah. I being that I run a business now, I can't say that. So
I run a business. I still say it.
Yeah, it's small town USA. I don't know how big your town is, but small town, if I'm direct, everyone hears about it.
Yeah, well, everybody hears about So, actually, lately I pissed off all my neighbors up at what I have 32 acres. I'm building a house on, and I closed off an easement that was just for our TUD utility thing, which people have been using as a technical road for the last, even though it wasn't one, and there's no rights to it, whatever. And now they're all pissed off. They don't have an extra they're trying to make it about this fire that's not even ever coming. And what if they need another access road? I'm like, run down take a chainsaw, cut it down, knock it down, go through it if there's a fire and you have to get out. I don't care.
I appreciate that, but I'm happy where I'm at. I like Western Washington and what we're doing. So, but Amy, anything else, Amy?
Yeah, Amy, it's you. You were here last, so. Yeah.
No, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much, Floyd, for your time today. And I think, I think these discussions and these conversations are really important to hear, from everybody across the board who served. So I really do want to say thank you for your time. And I apologize to everybody for my technical issues.
No, that's okay. It sounds like real estate. So. All right. Hey, Ed, pleasure to meet you. Amy, I appreciate you guys.
And Floyd, thank you for your service. Stay right there.
All right.
I'll close this out. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And thank you for showing up today, Amy. I really appreciate you showing up and getting the guests. I'm not trying to be a sarcastic, I'm not trying to be Steve Sims. I'm just saying thank you for showing up.